In a time long before the age of mortals, the mighty Titans ruled the cosmos with unchallenged power. Among them was Cronus, a fearsome figure of strength and ambition, who sat upon a throne of dark stone, his eyes ever watchful for threats to his rule. The prophecy loomed over him like a shadow, whispered by the ancient oracle of Gaia. His own children would rise against him, and one day overthrow his reign. Fearful and ruthless, Cronus took a terrible action. Each time his wife, the gentle Rhea, gave birth, he swallowed the child whole, ensuring they would never see the light of day. And so, one by one, the children were consumed. Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon, each swallowed by the darkness of their father's greed. Deep within the earth, in a cavern lit by flickering torchlight, Rhea stood before the oracle of Gaia. The cave walls shimmered with ancient runes, and the air was thick with the scent of damp earth. The oracle, a figure draped in green vines, held a bowl of water in her hands. As Rhea looked into the bowl, she saw visions, children with the power of the gods, a great battle, and finally, a throne of Olympus. The oracle's voice echoed through the cavern, soft yet powerful, like the rustling of leaves in a forest. Your children shall rise, Rhea. They will end the tyranny of Cronus and bring about a new order, but only if they are given the chance to be born into the light. Tears glistened in Rhea's eyes as she listened. She was determined to save her next child, the one who, according to the prophecy, would be the savior of her family. Her heart was heavy with sorrow for the children she had lost, swallowed by the darkness of Cronus's fear. But she held on to hope, knowing that she would find a way to protect the unborn. In the darkness of Cronus's belly, a flicker of light emerged. It was Hestia, the firstborn, the goddess of the hearth and home. Even swallowed whole, she carried with her a sense of peace and warmth. Hestia cradled a tiny flame within her hands, its golden light illuminating the gloom around her. She sat cross-legged, her face calm and serene, a beacon of hope in the darkness. The tiny flame flickered gently, a symbol of the life and light that still existed, even in the darkest of places. Hestia's presence brought comfort to her siblings, who were swallowed after her, trapped in the same darkness. Though unable to move or speak, they felt the warmth of her flame, a promise that they were not alone. Hestia nurtured the flame, tending to it with patience, knowing that one day their time would come. Rhea, still mourning her children, gave birth to Zeus in secret. Hidden away on the island of Crete, Zeus was raised far from Cronus's reach. He grew strong and wise, guided by the knowledge of his destiny. When the time was right, he would return to confront his father, armed with the power of the gods and the determination to free his siblings. Years passed, and Zeus grew into a mighty god, his eyes blazing with the fire of justice. The time had come to fulfill the prophecy. Disguised as a servant, Zeus approached Cronus in his dark throne room, offering him a cup of potion crafted by Metis, the goddess of wisdom. Cronus, unaware of the danger, drank deeply. The potion worked swiftly, causing him to retch and convulse. Suddenly, from the darkness of Cronus's belly, the gods were reborn. Hestia emerged first, bathed in a golden light, her face calm and serene. The flame she had nurtured in the darkness now blazed brightly, illuminating the throne room and pushing back the shadows. One by one, her siblings followed: Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon, each god stepping forward, their eyes filled with the fire of freedom. Zeus stood beside them, triumphant, his presence commanding and strong. The prophecy had come to pass. The children of Cronus, now fully grown and powerful, had returned to claim their place among the stars. With their combined strength, they would bring an end to Cronus's reign, ushering in a new age of the gods. And so, the reign of the Titans came to an end, and the era of the Olympian gods began. Hestia, the firstborn, stood at the center of it all, her flame a symbol of unity and peace. Though the battles ahead would be fierce and the challenges great, the gods would face them together, bound by the light of Hestia's hearth, which would burn eternally, guiding them towards a future filled with hope and harmony. With the downfall of Cronus, the world was free from the shadow of his tyranny. The newly freed Olympian gods gathered atop Mount Olympus, their rightful home, to decide how the cosmos would be divided among them. The air was crisp and clear, and the sky stretched endlessly above, a canopy of azure, reflecting the newfound freedom they felt. A soft wind blew through the mountain peaks, carrying the scent of pine and wildflowers, as if the world itself was celebrating their victory. At the center of this gathering stood Zeus, the youngest and most powerful of the Olympians, his eyes shining with the promise of a new era. Beside him were his brothers and sisters, each of them strong and radiant, their divine auras glowing like the sun. They were no longer children swallowed by darkness, gods of immense power and destiny. The council began. Zeus, with a voice as steady as thunder, declared that the cosmos would be divided among them, each god taking dominion over their respective realm. As the eldest, Hestia stood first in line to claim her place. The others waited, expecting her to choose a domain fitting her birthright. But Hestia, with her gentle eyes and calm demeanor, had other thoughts. As her siblings debated over the sky, the sea, and the underworld, Hestia stood quietly, listening. Poseidon, with the deep voice of the ocean, claimed the sea, its vast depths reflecting his own power. Hades, with eyes like shadows, chose the underworld, accepting the darkness as his realm. Zeus took the sky, the seat of power, where he would watch over all as the king of the gods. Each god made their choice, declaring their domain with voices that echoed through the heavens. But when it came time for Hestia to speak, she did not declare dominion over mountains or forests, rivers or plains. Instead, she gazed at her siblings, her expression serene and thoughtful, her heart full of a quiet, enduring strength. Hestia's beauty and wisdom did not go unnoticed. Both Poseidon and Apollo, god of the sun, were captivated by her grace. They approached her, each offering marriage and promises of wealth, power, and glory. Poseidon's voice was like the crashing waves, his presence as powerful as the ocean's tide. He promised Hestia dominion over the seas, a throne beside him, where they would rule together. Apollo, radiant as the sun itself, offered her a place beside him, where their combined light would shine over the world, bringing warmth and enlightenment to all. His words were sweet, his promises golden. But Hestia, with a gentle smile, refused them both. Her heart was not swayed by promises of power or wealth. She valued something deeper, something more enduring than the grandeur of thrones and crowns. Hestia made her choice known to all. She would remain a maiden, untouched by the desires for power and wealth. Her place, she declared, would be at the hearth, the center of the home, and the heart of every family. She chose to be the guardian of the hearth fire, a symbol of warmth, safety, and unity. Her realm would not be a vast kingdom or a domain of endless riches, but the humble hearth, that brought light and comfort to the gods and mortals alike. Zeus, hearing Hestia's choice, was filled with admiration for his sister's wisdom and selflessness. He granted her a special place on Olympus, ensuring that her hearth would be at the center of their divine home. The hearth fire, kindled by Hestia's hand, would burn eternally, a flame that never flickered nor waned. It would be a place of refuge, a sanctuary of peace, where all gods could gather, free from the conflicts that might arise among them. And so it was that Hestia became the goddess of the hearth, the protector of the home, the embodiment of humility and devotion. Her flame burned brightly, casting a warm, golden light that touched every corner of Olympus. The other gods, even in their moments of pride and anger, would find themselves drawn to Hestia's hearth, soothed by the peace she brought. In choosing the hearth, Hestia taught a lesson that echoed through the ages. True strength does not come from dominion over land or sea, but from the simple, quiet acts of kindness and love. Power is fleeting, but the warmth of the hearth, the comfort of home, endures. In the heart of every home, from the palaces of kings to the humble huts of farmers, Hestia's flame burned on, a symbol of peace, unity, and the light of wisdom. As time passed, Hestia's gentle influence began to spread beyond the halls of Olympus, reaching the mortal world below. Her flame, kindled on the hearth of the gods, became a symbol of peace and comfort for all who lived under the sky. In the hearts of mortals, Hestia found a special place, for she was not a goddess of war or conquest, but one of home and hearth, of warmth and sanctuary. Wherever there was a home, there was Hestia, her presence felt in the crackling of the fire, the scent of fresh-baked bread, and the laughter shared among family. In every city-state, from the bustling markets of Athens to the quiet villages nestled in the hills, Hestia's flame was lit first, when a new home was built. This was not just a ritual, but a sacred act, honoring the goddess who brought warmth and safety. Mortals revered Hestia, seeing in her the embodiment of their deepest desires: peace, stability, and the simple joys of daily life. Hestia bestowed upon mortals the gift of the hearth fire, a flame that could cook their food, warm their homes, and light their way through the darkest nights. But more than its practical use, this flame was a symbol, a reminder that at the heart of every family, there was a light that must be kept burning. It represented the unity and love that held families together, the silent strength that endured through all trials. Through this simple yet profound gift, Hestia taught mortals the values of kindness, hospitality, and the importance of a peaceful home. In honoring Hestia, mortals learned to honor each other, to offer a helping hand to strangers, and to find joy in the everyday blessings that life provided. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm orange glow over the land, a weary traveler arrived at a small village at the foot of Mount Olympus. His clothes were worn, and his face lined with the dust of the road. He knocked on the door of the first house he came upon, his voice tired and hoarse as he asked for shelter. The villagers, remembering Hestia's teachings, welcomed the stranger into their homes without hesitation. A fire was lit in the hearth, filling the room with a warm, inviting light. A simple meal of bread and soup was shared, and the traveler was offered a place to rest by the fire. The villagers spoke to him with kindness, asking about his journey, offering what little comfort they could. Little did they know, the weary traveler was none other than Zeus, king of the gods, disguised to test the hearts of mortals. As he sat by the fire, feeling the warmth of the hearth and the genuine hospitality of the villagers, Zeus was moved by their generosity. They had followed Hestia's teachings, not out of fear or obligation, but from a true sense of compassion and community. Pleased with what he had witnessed, Zeus revealed his true form, his eyes shining with divine light. The villagers were awed, their humble home filled with the presence of the king of the gods. Zeus raised his hand in blessing, promising them prosperity and protection. Their harvests would be bountiful, and their homes safe from harm. The story of the visiting stranger spread far and wide, becoming a cherished lesson in the importance of hospitality and kindness. Across the land, in every city and village, Hestia's flame burned brightly. In the great cities, public hearths dedicated to Hestia stood at the center of civic life. They were places of gathering, where people met to discuss matters of the day, to celebrate, and to honor the gods. The flame of Hestia was never allowed to go out, tended by the hands of priests and priestesses who kept watch day and night. This eternal flame was a reminder that even in times of conflict and uncertainty, the values of home and hearth, kindness and hospitality must be upheld. It stood as a beacon of hope, a light that could be seen in the darkest of times. Families gathered around their hearths, offering the first portion of their meals to Hestia, in gratitude for the peace and prosperity they enjoyed. In this way, Hestia's influence touched every aspect of mortal life. She was not a goddess of grand temples or mighty battles, but of the quiet moments that defined human existence, the shared meal, the warmth of a fire on a cold night, the laughter of children playing at home. Her presence was felt in the flickering light of every hearth, a constant, comforting reminder of the power of humility, compassion, and the enduring strength of a loving heart. And so, Hestia's legacy endured, her flame burning bright in the hearts and homes of gods and mortals alike. She showed that true power lies not in the grandeur of thrones or the roar of battle, but in the gentle warmth of the hearth fire, the peace of a united home, and the light of wisdom that guides us all. Her tale, like her flame, would never fade, lighting the way for all who sought to live a life of virtue and grace. High on Mount Olympus, where the clouds kiss the heavens, the gods continued their rule over the world. Amidst their grand halls and palaces, the hearth of Hestia burned steadily, a symbol of unity and peace. Hestia's flame was more than just fire. It was the heart of Olympus, the gentle light that warmed even the mightiest of gods. Though Hestia chose not to take part in the conflicts and rivalries that often arose among her siblings, her presence was felt in every corner of their celestial home. Hestia's role was that of a peacekeeper, a guardian of harmony. She remained a constant, calming presence, reminding the gods of the values that held them together. In times of strife, when tempers flared and words were spoken in anger, it was Hestia who would step forward, her voice soft yet firm, her eyes full of understanding. Her words carried the weight of wisdom, quieting storms and soothing troubled hearts. There came a time when the gods found themselves divided over a matter of great importance. Arguments erupted in the halls of Olympus, voices rising like thunder, each god standing firm in their stance. Zeus, his face dark with the clouds of anger, stood at the head of the gathering, struggling to maintain order. Ares, the god of war, clenched his fists, ready for conflict, while Athena, the goddess of wisdom, argued passionately for a different path. In the midst of this storm, Hestia moved to the center, her footsteps light and her expression calm. The room quieted as her presence was felt, a gentle warmth spreading through the air. She stood by the hearth, her hands outstretched towards the flames, and spoke in a voice that was soft, but carried to every corner of the hall. "Brothers, sisters," she said, "remember the hearth that warms your home, the fire that burns not for one, but for all. Let us not be divided by our differences, but united by our shared purpose. The flame of Olympus is a light for the world, and it must never be dimmed by our quarrels." The gods listened, the tension in the room easing. Zeus's face softened, his anger dissipating like the morning mist. Ares unclenched his fists, and Athena's eyes reflected a newfound clarity. Hestia's words, simple yet profound, reminded them of their unity and the greater purpose they served. The flames of the hearth flickered brighter, casting a warm glow that filled the hall, and peace was restored. To honor Hestia and her enduring light, the gods and mortals alike celebrated the festival of Hestia each year. It was a time of joy and reflection, when families gathered around their hearths, offering the first portions of their meals to the goddess. In cities and villages, people came together to sing songs, tell stories, and share in the bounty of the harvest. Homes were decorated with garlands of fresh flowers, and the scent of baking bread filled the air. On Olympus, the gods gathered around Hestia's hearth, their faces lit by the soft glow of the eternal flame. They offered her gifts of golden olive oil, sweet wine, and fragrant incense. The air was filled with laughter and the sound of music, a celebration of the peace and unity that Hestia's presence had brought to their lives. Even the mighty Zeus bowed his head in respect, acknowledging the quiet strength of his eldest sister. During the festival, old grievances were forgiven, and new friendships were formed. It was a time of renewal, a reminder that the flame of Hestia burned in the heart of every home and every family, guiding them with its gentle light. Hestia's influence extended far beyond the festival and the halls of Olympus. Her flame, lit in every hearth and every home, was a symbol of the enduring light of wisdom and the strength found in humility and love. In times of darkness, when the world seemed lost to conflict and despair, it was the flame of Hestia that provided hope. It burned brightly, a beacon of comfort and safety, drawing people together and reminding them of the values that truly mattered. In every temple dedicated to the gods, a place of honor was reserved for Hestia. Her altar was simple, adorned with fresh flowers and small offerings of bread and wine. The flame that burned there was never allowed to go out, tended by priests and priestesses who understood the sacred duty of maintaining the light. They knew that as long as Hestia's flame burned, there was hope for peace and harmony. Hestia's legacy was not one of grand conquests or mighty deeds, but of quiet strength and enduring love. She showed that true power lay not in the force of arms, but in the warmth of the hearth and the light of a kind heart. Her flame burned on, a symbol of the unity and peace that she brought to both gods and mortals alike. Years turned into centuries, and centuries into millennia. The world changed, and new gods rose, but the flame of Hestia never wavered. It burned in the hearts of the people, a constant reminder of the values that Hestia embodied. Her story was told and retold, passed down through generations, a tale of wisdom, humility, and the quiet power of love. In every home where a hearth was lit, Hestia was present, Her light shone in the laughter of children, the embrace of loved ones, and the simple act of sharing a meal. She was there in the peaceful moments, when the world seemed at rest, and in the challenging times, offering comfort and strength. Hestia's flame burned eternally, a symbol of the timeless virtues that guide us all. Through her, we learn that the greatest strength is found in the quiet places of our hearts, that true wisdom comes from love and compassion, and that the light of the hearth is a beacon that can never be extinguished. And so, the tale of Hestia, guardian of the hearth, lives on. Her flame continues to light the way, guiding us towards a future filled with peace, harmony, and the enduring power of a loving heart.